Is there anybody out there? That was Pink Floyd. I mean, Pink Floyd wasn't actually on the show. That was me singing Pink Floyd. Well, not really singing, just mumbling. Make sure that this is good to go over here. We're about to go live here in just a minute, but anybody that's already following or watching the stream, I'm going to be doing it alone today. Erica is a little under the weather, so she is going to be resting today. And just remember that. Send her positive thoughts and good vibes. But it'd just be me. Maybe I should wait to tell you all that. Like halfway through the show, then everybody realizes, hey, where's Erica? Well, oh no, she bailed on me. She didn't bail on me. She's going to kill me if she hears me say that. We got just a couple of minutes before the. Now, by the way, to anybody that is listening to the stream, I'm updating the clock to start on the hour, doing some adjusting on the clock and some of the breaks. So that'll be coming up. That's a new and exciting development. So if you are wondering about that, so. Welcome to the Breakdown, everybody. This is Aaron Barker broadcasting from an undisclosed location deep behind enemy lines, asking the questions that get you kicked out of Bible study and sent to therapy. Thank you all so very much for the opportunity to be in your vehicle, office, residence, warehouse, farmhouse, henhouse, outhouse, or doghouse, wherever it is you may be listening to the Breakdown today. Big show for you today. She just needed a few minutes by herself. We'll be talking about an interesting car accident with a mother, We'll also talk about a YouTuber being blasted for an interesting combination of his romantic life. And then in the second hour, we're going to be banging away at some really bad theology, everything from painting portraits in worship all the way down to Supreme Court taking on conversion therapy. All of that's coming up right here on the show today. Thank you all so much for being with us. And as you notice, for those who are regular listeners and watchers of the program, Erica, misinformation herself, is unfortunately not with us today. She contacted me earlier this week, actually, on Wednesday when we were recording Dimension X Files. And, she was unable to come. She got hit with whatever this sickness is that's going around. So she is going to be resting at home. Totally understand that. So send her well wishes, positive vibes, good thoughts, all that great stuff. So that she feels better. It was a bummer because this past Wednesday, I interviewed a guy on the show. It was really incredible, really great interview, super nice guy. And we talked about everything from biblical paranormology. What is the word for paranormal theology? Anyway, so like from biblical paranormal experiences and theology all the way over and down to best cartoons from the 80s. It was a really good show, jam-packed over 2 hours. So if you're not a subscriber, you make sure you jump in on that. by going to aaronbarker.substack.com. That is the new show that we're launching. I know she had to be sick because that was our third show that we were doing, and she was unable to be a part of that. So I know she had to not be feeling well for that to happen. But anyway, aaronbarker.substack.com. That's also where you can follow the breakdown and subscribe over there. If you want to get everything from the Substack, which includes Dimension X files, please become a paid subscriber over there. It's really helpful. We really appreciate that and very grateful for it. And also, you can listen to us on the Crusade channel, live radio the way it should be, by simply going over to crusadechannel.com. I will be monitoring the Crusade channel chat, the Crusader Stadium chat room, and be talking about some of the things that they're saying over there today as well. And you'll be probably wondering right now why I'm on camera when Erica and I have been doing this old school theater of the mind type setup over the past several weeks. It has nothing to do with her not being on the show and everything to do with the fact that I'm testing out some new software because we're doing Dimension X files. I'm testing out some new software for recording and for streaming. So I am showing my face today, sacrificing my privacy to be on here so that we can try out this new software. We might go back to video on Saturdays. I'm not sure. I hope Erica didn't just find that out now. She probably is, just like everybody else is, because I'm rambling. Oh, and by the way, big show today. A lot of great stuff we're going to get into, but this over here, I just want to point this out. This is for those who are listening and not watching. My daughter is in college right now, and it is an amazing feeling as a father, and I'm sure as a mother too, because I know her mom fairly well. She called us one day several weeks back, and she was like, "Hey, can you all come down this weekend?" And we're like, well, we're trying to work through our schedule. And we got back to her, like, we're checking everything, and she had to work and all this, and we were like, okay. But she said, but she contacted us again later that week. She's like, "Hey, I just want to know when you all are coming down, because I need to just make sure everything's good to go. We need to check my schedule and all that." And we were like, "Yeah, that's awesome. But that's fine." And then the thing that got us was the fact that she reached out and she was like, "Hey, by the way, no rush to get down here. We're going to go down on a Sunday." She's like, "No rush to get down here. I've carved out the entire day just for you all." And we were like, "What?" Our nearly 20-year-old daughter asks us to come down and see her at college, right? And she says, "I've carved an entire day out to spend with y'all." She's really busy. I understand all that. But still, the fact that she did that, she was like, "I'm carving out a day just for the family." And we were so impressed by that. We're not impressed. It just does you good. Your kid wants to hang out with you. You get to a point where your kids spread their wings, they go out, they're living their life, and now they want to hang out with you. They want to be with you. That was an incredible feeling. So we show up, and one of the things that she does, we go to lunch, and then we come back, and she's like, "Hey, got some stuff for y'all." She starts giving gifts out, right? And one of the thing that she gives me is this Sonic the Hedgehog lava lamp. Right. I lost my lava lamp that my mama bought me back in 25 years ago. Plus, actually, when I was in high school, I think I lost that lava lamp in the fire. And, I loved that thing. It followed me everywhere. And I used to have it set up in my old studio in the back corner, just like this one is set up, but I had it set up that way. So my daughter found this. She knows that I'm going through this extremely introspective, nostalgic time in my life right now, where I've got cartoons and movies and reading things about that time in my life, the mid 80s to early to 90s, that time when I grew up. And this just kind of hit that. I played Sonic the Hedgehog all the time. It was like the game that I played, that and Eternal Champions and Mortal Kombat, Super Mario, Metroid, all that stuff. But she found this, and she thought of her old man, and she got me a lava lamp, a Sonic the Hedgehog lava lamp. I wonder if I can, without dropping it, I'm going to hold it up for the camera to see. Right now, it's still warming up, so it looks like it's a gestating fetus. If you ever had a lava lamp, it kind of goes through these phases, and then, like 2 hours later, it births these awesome bubbles and stuff. But it's got Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and all the rings on the bottom of it. This thing is awesome. And I'm not even getting any commissions or selling this. I'm just impressed that my daughter found this. Excuse me. And then she gave it to her old man as a gift. I am so grateful for that. Hey, Rocky's in the chat over on Facebook. Oh, that's another thing. With this new software, we're back on Facebook. So we're broadcasting over there. Rocky Stucci's saying hello to us there. Very happy to see that. Thanks, Rocky, for joining us. And grateful he's there. Morning, brother. And Curtis is saying, stay away from the brown acid. I'm not sure what that means. But big show. Let's go ahead and get into it. Zeke. God, I'm getting to the point now where I need my glasses. I used to have to take my glasses off when I sat at the computer. Now I'm getting to the age where I'm like up on the screen and trying to see things. And like I'm looking at the Crusader chat over here on the other monitor and I'm like squinting. So Zeke says, good morning. Good morning, Zeke, and everybody over there. All right, let's go ahead and get into the show today. Big stuff. We're going to jump into the chum bucket, dig down deep into the chum bucket, and we're going to find some of the internet's most fascinating accounts of this world in which we live. Now, this happened a couple weeks ago, but this was an incredibly dangerous chase that was happening here in Cincinnati. A gentleman rammed into a shop. Actually, let's just do this. This is the video, a high-speed chase that was recorded here on the Big Mac Bridge. Pretty sure it was here in the from the Ohio or Kentucky into Ohio. And this is the chase that was recorded. Now brace yourself. This is, if you're squeamish, I just want to let you know, this might be one of those situations that just might get you. So let's go ahead here and watch this high-speed chase. Unbelievable. If you're listening to this, blasting out there. This high-speed chase is probably topping out at maybe 6 miles an hour, 5 miles an hour, possibly. And a guy is just creeping right along. And they've got exits blocked off. They've got streets blocked off. The ramps blocked off. They're just trying to guide this guy and lead the guy down. Now, obviously, the dude is inebriated. He is in custody right now. But just for a little bit of backstory, because it is kind of a funny backstory, we'll watch something here about this. If I can get it up here, let's do this. Let's share this tab, and then we will go right there. Here we go. There's a little bit of background on this here.
It's just the worst call to get.
Whitney Frohmeyer woke up to a phone call telling her someone broke into her store.
At first I thought it was an accident. I was like, oh, surely he's just like really drunk and he just came in and hit it once.
But the driver didn't stop.
He rammed it 3 times. He came in head on, turned around, reversed, hit it once again. Still wasn't enough to break the glass.
And there's video
and
and
then
footage of this guy
backing
in and out.
After looking at that security camera video, both workers here and police knew exactly who it was that rammed a car into the store, causing all this damage.
We watched the video, me and the police watched the video, less than 20 minutes after the incident happened. I was like, that's McLean.
We've dealt with him quite a bit over the last few months.
They know who this guy is. As soon as they see his car. This guy's a regular at this establishment that he vandalized, and rammed his car into because he really wanted to drink. Sometimes when you get a craving and it's very possible this guy had a pregnant woman at home he's trying to take care of. She has a craving for something and he's trying to get to the store to get it, but they're closed. And there's no way this guy's going home without the Rocky Road ice cream, pickles, and onions that his wife is craving. This guy is getting in there to get things done. You got to give him some kind of cred for that.
As far as alcohol and drug and maybe, some other issues.
After getting in, McLean Morris searched around the store.
He came in here, got 2 bottles of Cinnabon and a bottle of Everclear, and then left.
And honestly, if you're like, you have free reign of this store, okay? You have free reign of this store, and you get Everclear, you get Cinnabon. I mean, like, I mean, like, why aren't you going to like top shelf stuff, you know? But this, I guess the guy was possibly trying, you know, maybe to reduce any kind of sentence that he was maybe going to get. But if you're going to get some quality stuff, man, like you should be reaching for some top shelf bourbon or some top shelf tequila. I mean, come on. To get this, to go with Everclear and Cinnabon, you can obviously tell the guy's drunk. And then as he sits in his car, he takes a big old swig of this stuff, and they find out where he is. Then he went back in, got some cigarettes. The cops did find him, and he ended up getting away from the police. Check this out. This is another way. You're like, how did this guy get away from the cops?
When he wouldn't get out of the car, he tried to get through. He rammed the Newport car, rammed the vehicle behind him, and ultimately went up on the sidewalk.
He drives up. Look how slow he's going. He drives up on the sidewalk and then drives away. And then
Morris led police on a low-speed chase that stopped in the middle of the Big Mac Bridge.
And open the driver's door and step out.
Police got to him a few blocks away from the bridge on the Cincinnati side.
He has several charges on him. Which I'm glad.
There he is right there. There's the stud that did it right there.
Getting any restitution from him, but
what a winner.
I mean, that would be nice. At least to pay for a deductible and him, but
like you look at the bro and you're like, man, you've got so much going for you. You're handsome. Your eyes are straight. You know, you've got a hair on your face. I mean, this guy, you're not really sure. He's one of the dudes you're not really sure which eye to look at. But anyway, this guy is leading the police on a high-speed police chase. I thought that was hilarious. The fact that it was like a 6 mile an hour a chase that the guy was able to elude the cop. So, but anyway, now here's another one. Now, I'm sure that many mothers can sympathize with this woman. Let me get this out of here. Many mothers can sympathize with this woman. There was a mother of 3 who survives 6 days trapped in a car after a crash in Indiana Creek. It says here that in Brooke, Indiana, a woman survived 6 days trapped in a car. Brianna Castle, 41, demonstrated remarkable resilience as she survived nearly 6 days trapped in her crashed car in a creek in Brooke, Indiana. Castle, unable to move and with her phone out of power, used her hoodie to wring out water to drink while enduring excruciating pain. She did what she could do to survive. A family member told WLS she was in excruciating pain. She was screaming out for help. Castle had fallen asleep at the wheel, veering off the road and into a deep ditch that was not visible from the road. Her family, along with several Northwest Indiana rescue teams, had been searching for her since last Wednesday. A volunteer fire chief and another man discovered the wreckage today. And then when I saw a piece it was like a piece of broken plastic from inside the car waving in the windshield. And then they obviously told her that the family's been looking for her. Castle, a mother of 3, was rescued and flown to the Christ Medical Center in Oaklawn with severe injuries to her legs, ribs, and wrist. Despite her injuries, she was conscious and talking, finally able to embrace her loved ones. She begins a long road to recovery. What they should have done is they should have just let the kids go out, because whenever the mother tries to, go to the bathroom, whenever mom tries to go to the bathroom, whenever mom wants to shower, that's always going to be the time when the kids find them. Mom goes to the bathroom. As soon as she gets in there, the kids are banging on the door, knocking on the door. Husband's knocking on the door. What's for dinner? But I mean, she just wanted a few minutes by herself. And she's desperate. She's crying out for help. Like, not only literally, but she just wanted to be by herself for a little bit. But her kids just kept bothering her. I mean, 3 kids. I mean, but, you also have to think that she's probably had enough snacks in that car with 3 kids, snacks and water to last at least another week. She could have done that. But that is an interesting way. If you're looking for a way to get away from your family or looking for a way to get away from your kids, that's the way to do it. Just run your car right into a tree. I'm not giving you real advice here. This is all for parody for people out there listening. Ram your car into a tree, go into a ditch, flip it over if you got to, or just rent a hotel, something like that. That reminds me of the Creep Show 2, The Hitchhiker, where the woman hits the hitchhiker. She was having an affair with a male prostitute, and she was going home, and she was trying to get home before her husband was getting home. She wasn't speeding or anything, but as she was driving down the road, she was smoking a cigarette and dropped the cigarette between her legs and was trying to get that out from between her legs and was veering all over the road and hits a hitchhiker and kills him. But she drives away because she can't stop there. She shouldn't be in that area. Why is she there? She'll get busted for her affair, so she leaves. And then the hitchhiker haunts her all the way home, and she ends up ramming her car into a tree, all this stuff. It's really great. If you haven't seen Creepshow 2, it's really awesome. I remember from a child, I remember The Raft. If you've never seen Creepshow, watch that for The Raft, because it's so great. I love when stories end the way that they should end in real life. I love that. Morning, Toby. Thanks for joining us, brother. Hello to Gifted Guru, Space Hippie. Hey, Audrey, Curtis is over there as well in the chat. We've got Zeke joining us over in the chat on the Crusader Stadium side as well. By the way, you're listening to the breakdown. I'm Aaron Barker, and we are on the Crusade Channel, live radio the way it should be. Go to crusadechannel.com for that. And also, don't forget to check out Mike Church's YouTube page. He does the Mike Church Show. They changed the time. For anybody who doesn't know this, Mike Church has changed the time after I don't know how many years. Like I think it was 16 or 1700 years that he's been on from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. That's Central Time, that he's been on the air from that time. So he changed it now to noon to 3. And I don't think it could come at a better time because the Fathead Bongino is off the air now. Thank goodness. Now he could probably going to do more damage in the FBI than good, but he's off the air. So I don't think that there are any shoes to fill over there. I don't think there's a vacuum. But regardless, Mike Church has moved his show to 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 p.m. noon time, and filling in that. So go check that out and listen to that. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. The Crusader Radio channel, the Crusade Radio Network, and you'll be able to see the shows broadcast over there also. Fantastic stuff. And jump in and watch as much as you can. All right, let's see here. A YouTuber has been blasted after revealing a throuple. Now, in this life and times, and this, like the phrase used to be like when you watch old 90s shows, one of the big things, or older shows, you hear people saying they're like, it's the 80s, man. A huge thing said in multiple shows all the time. Hey, it's the 90s, man. It's the 90s. Get with the program, bro. Now it's like it's the 2020s, bro. Get with the program, bro. Oh no. Let's see. Erica jumped in there. I'm too sick to fight, but we're trashing Bongino. Well, we aren't, but I am. I've kept my mouth shut about Bongino. I just don't care for him. Did you know he was part of the Secret Service? Because if you didn't, he would tell you. He'll tell you within like 3 seconds of listening to him. Anyway, so now it's the 2010s. Right? 2020s, actually. So we should be accepting of all kinds of things that people want to do. Everything they want to do. But a YouTuber is being blasted, which does not seem very woke to me, that a YouTuber is being blasted for this. But a YouTuber is being blasted after revealing a throuple with his girlfriend and her mom. You heard me correctly. An American YouTuber who claimed he impregnated his girlfriend and her mother has come clean about their pregnancy announcement, but still insists that their three-way relationship is real. Nick Yardy, 29, horrified the internet when he recently announced his 22-year-old adult entertainer girlfriend, Jade, and her mom, Dani, D-A-N-I, just so you know, D-A-N-I, were both pregnant with his children. But while he's just admitted that the video, which has amassed hundreds of thousands of views, was a skit for followers, he maintains the throuple's family life is 100% authentic. There are no babies. It's just like a skit. It's not actually real, he told the Mail Online. Oh, man. While his own fan base may have taken the baby news with a pinch of salt, many fell for the viral announcement. But no, okay, so they're not. So he didn't knock them up, right? He didn't knock them up, but he is still banging the mom and the daughter. And I don't understand that I mean, in my mind, I understand that there are a lot of people who do a lot of stuff and a lot of crazy things that they want to do. But this mother is allowing a guy to enter her who has entered her daughter and vice versa. Now, I'm not a woman. I'm a dude. I can tell you, I wouldn't be doing that. It wouldn't be a throuple with a girl with my dad. I wouldn't do that. Close to my dad, not that kind of close. It's a different kind of closeness. I don't want to be that kind of close. All right. I don't think my dad would ever offer. I don't think that would be a conversation. Could you imagine the conversation you would have to have? Hey, son, so I'm banging this really hot chick. You want to join, Dad? Sure. Let's do it. Let's have some good father-son time. Can't wait. After that, can we finally go fishing? No, I'm busy, son. I mean, I don't understand. Now, women out there, I'm sure women are a lot more emotionally attached. But is this something that women would do? I'm going to go ahead and say no. I'm going to go ahead and just answer for all the women out there. I don't think this is something they would do. You can answer in the chat, Crusader Stadium chat room. You can answer in the chat on Rumble and on Facebook. But I don't think this is something most women would do. Videos on his YouTube account show the trio at home in Miami, but there are also countless other clips that show Nick surrounded by scantily clad women in a range of sexually suggestive scenarios. Now, I don't see that in the article I'm reading here, just so you all know. I'm not looking at that. They have some pictures of him clothed and them clothed from the pregnancy announcement video, but they're not showing any other stuff that I know of. It says, according to a video shared on his Instagram page, Nick was in a relationship with Jade first, before the couple turned to their life coach mom for advice when they hit a rough patch. After Danny suggested they could try bringing another woman in, Nick apparently said it should be her. And remarkably, Jade agreed. Now the mom and daughter duo apparently take it in turns to go out on dates and to be intimate with Nick. Mom, my counselor, life coach mom suggested that I bring in a third party so that I could spice up my relationship. I couldn't think of any better woman than my mom. Join me, Mom. Oh, gosh. All right, folks, this world is going crazy. You're listening to The Breakdown. More on this after the break. Keep it locked in right here on The Breakdown.
Asking the questions that get you kicked out of Bible studies and sent to therapy.
You're listening to The Breakdown.
I see you there, John. John says, I will take what I learned in the 80s. Just say no. Erica, thanks for joining us in the chat. Miss you today. I'd love to hear your take on this. But Erica says, no self-respecting woman. At least it's not his mom. Oh, gosh. Ew. Oh, ugh. But I mean, it's hers. I mean, I know that they take turns, but they're going to be approached by some kind of adult film company. They're going to be approached by Kanye, and they're going to be like, hey, we'll film all three of you, this whole thing. My girlfriend's hot mom or something like that. And it's like, dude, I understand that people are, they do what they want to. And they're like, hey, it's my bedroom. Like, do it. You're right. You can do what you want to in your bedroom. But I think that there's a line, like socially, and I'm glad that the internet is in an outrage over this. And I'm glad that it's not just like, oh, yeah, hey, it's fine, go, bang your mom. Because it's the daughter and the mom. That's the thing. Oh, my goodness. Could you imagine that, though, Erica, if it were the girl in a relationship with that guy and that guy's mom? I don't know if that would make it worse necessarily, but it certainly would not make it any better. Holy gefilte fish. This is nuts. Okay, got a lot of other stuff coming up. Be right back. Thanks for staying with us on the break. We really do appreciate that. And by we, I mean I. Erica is in the chat with us, so you can still get her pithy comments over there. You're welcome to join us on the Rumble chat or on Facebook, which we're back on Facebook now. For the time being, we'll see how this goes. It's always great to wait until the very last minute and then figure out what you're going to do as far as broadcasting. But I jumped in today on an old platform that we had used and found out that it did have some things that we were looking for. So, and don't forget, as I brought up at the beginning of the show, the Dimension X Files now has 2 live episodes, 2 featured episodes already up on the website. And the third one is going to be dropped this coming Wednesday. So the episodes drop every Wednesday. The one from last week was just a blast. Or this past week was a blast. Dave Emmons, I've interviewed him before, but this time we got into some really deep, interesting things. And he told us more about his experiences. And at the end of the show, Eric and I we're talking like post-show wrap-up stuff. And we got to have that guy back on. And I want to make sure that we do, because there's so many questions. So if you watch the episode, you're going to have a bunch of questions, and I want you to take the questions and I want you to put them into the chat over on Substack and on the comment section. And I want to ask Dave those questions when we have it back on. It'll be a few months, maybe, I don't know, 6 months, something like that. I don't know what the customary time frame of having people on the shows are, but the guy is extremely interesting. And Erica can back me up on this. There were so many things that he mentioned and dropped in there that we could have just gone so many directions on. And I'm actually working on an article for the Substack that will be for everybody. But the article is going to be about panspermia, which we did talk about during that show, which was that life is seeded here by aliens from somewhere else. And the reasoning behind it is that the world is not the world is actually older. The earth is actually older, but our DNA is like billions of years old or something like that. But that was really a lot of fun and really interesting. So make sure you go to aaronbarker.substack.com and you can join in and listen to all of that over there. Good morning to Toby. Toby is a founding freak over on Substack. So great to have him with us. Always great to see you in the comments. John, good to see you there as well, brother. And let's jump back into some more stuff here. Erica, by the way, dropped in. Why didn't they bring in dad instead of mom? That's very intriguing. I'm sure the psychological answer is that they didn't have a daddy figure, which is why the girl is an entertainer and the mom is willing to sleep with her daughter's boyfriend. So now there's also, it's very possible that this whole thing is just, he says, that's right, Gifted. I see that over there. He says that this whole thing is real and they're doing it for real. It's legit, but it could just be a big old hoax, just be a bunch of crap, just to get other folks to listen, to watch his girlfriend. And that's another thing. What self-respecting guy would allow his girl to undress herself for money and let other perverts gawk at his woman? Now, it could be the fact that some of those chicks do earn like $14 million a month. That would be a conversation. All right. That would be a conversation. Tell Allison that. By the way, do you think you can make it? Because if you can make it, let's talk about it. No, man, I'm just playing that. That's a joke, of course. Here's some parents of the year for you. Couple abandons baby in a blanket. Couple abandons baby in blanket covered stroller at Disney so they could get on a ride. A couple made an alleged dubious decision regarding their child's safety at Disneyland. Of course, a stranger filmed them doing it, and then she posted online in the name of safety concerns. And here is, get that video ready while I'm watching. I'm reading the article here. It says here that TikTok user Keisha Ferenc a mom of 3 was gobsmacked when she saw the movement in a stroller that appeared to be unsupervised because the parents were on a nearby Guardians of the Galaxy ride at Disneyland, California. In the clip, a stroller parked behind a wall across from the large, busy attraction. The stroller is covered in a Spider-Man blanket, which begins to move. Go ahead and drop this video in here so we can watch this together. And a bunch of new views on here. This is cool. There we go. This will work. Here is the video. This is a passerby.
Why did somebody leave their baby here in the stroller while they went to go get on the ride? That stroller right there, there is a baby in there, as y'all can see. Somebody's kid is in there. And their parents walked into Guardians and they have not been back yet. And before I knew there was a baby inside, I heard one of the dads say, "Oh, just put a chair right there to block that side off." And yeah, now they're calling them people.
Here's security. They show up. Checking on the situation, lifting up the blanket and looking in.
Somebody left their baby.
Oh boy,
While they
man.
went on the ride.
This is craziness right here.
I wonder how old you can be to wait by yourself.
Well, she said, "I wonder how old you be to wait by yourself." But this child, I mean, you can see the child in the stroller. The blanket starts moving. Now, kudos to these parents, these other adults, I should say, that decided they were going to hang out there until security showed up. That was really cool. But I mean, this really we could have put this at the same place as a woman who crashed her car in a ditch. You know, sometimes you just need to get away from them childrens. You just got to get away. You know, anyway, the stroller is covered in a Spider-Man blanket, which begins to move. It says here that the Guardians of the Galaxy. Why does it tell me about that? In the comments section, the person explains that once she and her family noticed the blanket moving, they reported it to nearby cast members who immediately went to the aid of the child. And a very valid point was made. And in the sun, under a blanket, left alone is crazy. That's the Parents of the Year right there. Parent of the Year award to this family who was like, you know what? Forget it. Forget it. Heat exhaustion or heat stroke. All of those things, just to forget it. We're going to ride that freaking Guardians of the Galaxy ride. I paid my life savings to go to Disneyland. You know what you do? I mean, it's common sense. We used to do this all the time. We went to Kings Island with the girls. There was a couple of years difference between the two. So when Michaela was old enough to start, we would take them to the rides that were in, if you've ever been to Kings Island, they have this kiddie land over there. And, but it has little roller coasters and all this stuff. And we would go over there. I can't remember the name of that place. But it was all Peanuts themed. And when we went there, but over the years it had different inceptions. Yeah, that could have been taken to Erica. I mean, like you weigh it out, heat stroke, or taken. I mean, you weigh those two out, you know? But anyway, now, before I go on there, Audrey has a very in-depth behind the scenes knowledge of this, but she said it happens more than you know. Over there. Now that is sad though. Curtis says the Beast. Yeah, the Beast was over at Kings Island. Fantastic ride. One of my absolute favorites. He took the vortex out. But anyway, we would alternate between the kids. We would one parent would sit with Bree because she was younger and couldn't ride the bigger rides. The other parent would go ride the bigger rides with Michaela. And then when Michaela got older that she could ride some of the regular rides in the park, we did the same thing. One went to the kiddie land with Bree. The other one went and rode the other rides. It was very simple. You know, but when you spend thousands and thousands of dollars to go to a place like Disneyland or Disney World where they're raking in billions of dollars, then you don't want to waste that. So, hey, cover up your kid and just let him go. Audrey's continuing saying that she's seen the police show up and Child Protective Services. Well, it should, to be honest with you. The people should show up for that. Let's see here. Anybody watch the show Ghost Adventures? We watch it and kind of laugh at it. It's kind of funny. There's a character on there. His name is, let's see what his name is. I've got his name right here. It's unfortunate news from the world of paranormal reality television. Authorities have uncovered a murder for hire plot allegedly orchestrated by the wife of Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin, who was to be the target of a sinister scheme. According to a report from TMZ, which broke the wild story last Monday, Nevada cops arrested Victoria Goodwin last week for solicitation and conspiracy to commit murder. An arrest report detailing the shocking case asserted that she had been communicating with the Florida inmate in the hopes of ending her marriage by way of her husband's arranged demise. Am I a bad person? Victoria is said to have mused in one exchange. Because I chose to end his existence, not divorce. Amazingly, authorities allege that the paranormal TV personality's wife even went so far as to offer specific details about the program's filming schedule so that the plot could unfold smoothly. The arrest report explained that Victoria had amassed around $11,000 to pay for the murder that would have been committed by a third party enlisted by the inmate. Cops indicated that the scheme unraveled when the prisoner's contraband cell phone was discovered during a search of his quarters, and an examination of the text revealed the stunning exchange. When questioned by police, the arrest report said Victoria chalked the conversations up to her wistfully wishing for a single life rather than a genuine plan to kill her husband. Cops clearly did not buy that excuse, and she was arrested for the dual charges of solicitation and conspiracy to commit murder. For his part, the Ghost Adventure star told TMZ that he was blindsided and devastated by what authorities uncovered, lamenting he thought he was in a happy marriage. Currently, Victoria remains in police custody with a bail set at $100,000. And that's crazy. But hey, look at this. Audrey says that she's met him and his wife at Disneyland. It's a crazy story. It is. Bree and I watched most of these shows together. I think Michaela used to watch some of them with us as well. We used to watch Holzer Files. I love that show. All three of us did. Michaela, me, and Bree. Michaela, Bree, and I. Yeah. Michaela Bree and I used to watch Holzer Files. They took it off, but that show was awesome. Loved that show. But we did watch Ghost Adventures for a good laugh. And but very, very shocked, because I remember, obviously, from watching the show, I know who he is, and we've seen him on the show multiple times, and very shocked that it was like that. And that this ended up being like that. Absolutely crazy. Feel sorry for him and his family. I mean, you think about it, your wife that you think that you love, that you're supposed to be with, is going to try to off you for $11,000. You would think maybe it's a little bit more. Maybe my life is worth a little bit more than that. But unfortunately, it is not. You're listening to The Breakdown live, radio the way it should be, on the Crusade channel and over on Rumble. You can also catch us on Facebook today. Join the Substack, aaronbarker.substack.com. Just subscribe over there for free, or you can do a paid subscription and get the new show, Dimension X-Files, which airs every Wednesday. Great fun that we have over there with those interviews that we're talking about. Let me jump into this real quick, because next hour is going to be devoted, by the way, to those who are wondering. I'll just toss this teaser out there. Is DEI? What about DEI? Is that Christian? Or are those values Christian values? We'll talk about that, amongst other bad theology stories, coming up in the next hour. Bad theology, so stay tuned for that. This is an interesting one here, and Erica and I have gone back and forth on this for some time, and Brian, back when he was on the show as well, talked about this. There was a heartbroken uncle of slain Newark police officer blames parents of 14-year-old suspect for his murder. So this is an uncle. There was a gentleman, a police officer, Joseph Azcona, who was in his car with his partner. They were just sitting there in Jersey. A 14-year-old approaches the vehicle with a fully automatic weapon and unloads on the vehicle, killing this police officer. And the uncle says, the uncle of this officer says, it's the parents, the way they were raised, the parents. Juan G. Lopez told the Post, referring to the guardians of the 14-year-old accused killer whose identity has not been released. It's crazy. I've been around for 40 years, and that surprised me. They are obviously all left stunned here. Lopez spoke as a large family as a large group of family members gathered at the home of the as Kona's dad, Juan, on Saturday night in Newark. Shocked kin were still coming to terms with the detective's sudden and violent death. The grieving father was too emotionally distraught to offer words, gutted by the senseless murder of his son Joseph. So the uncle talked. He said, "We work in the city of Newark. We pay taxes. We are business people. We keep things straight and don't do drugs. So this hurt." Ascona's mother, Martha Vargas, said that she and other family members were at her son's bedside when he died in the early hours of Saturday morning and were still in the throes of grief. She said, "That was my baby. He always said he wanted to be a cop when he was little. And when he grew up, he took the test." However, she doesn't blame the suspect's family. Sometimes you can blame the parents, but sometimes you can't. You don't know what they're doing. You cannot blame them. I don't blame the parents. Believe me, Vargas told the Post. Now, here's the situation. And here's how I would approach this. And I'm because I have been accused in the past. I don't want to say accused. I've never really been accused of anything. In the past, we talked about Ethan Crumley, whose parents were horrible parents. They were the parents that probably would leave him in a stroller covered in a blanket in the hot California sun to go ride a Chris Pratt ride at Disneyland. That's what his parents probably were. But we didn't know that when it happened. When it first happened, we didn't know the situation. We didn't know the circumstances surrounding that. Why did he do this? What was the situation with his parents? How was he raised? How was he provided this gun? How did he get the idea to shoot a police officer? All of that stuff. And I don't know that. So I can't enter into conjecture. So I can't say, yes, it's the parents' fault automatically off that. On Crumley's, we can. We know that the parents were negligent. We know that they did not take care of their son properly or provide him with the mental health help he was seeking, desperately crying out for. We know that in hundreds of texts that were sent between him and his mom that she never once said, "I love you." We know that the relationship with the dad was such that he buys him a gun, and then the relationship doesn't go anywhere beyond just formalities there. So in this situation, to blame the parents of this 14-year-old, I think that would be a little bit premature. Just like any other circumstance, we don't have all the information. If it comes out, I don't know. I don't even want to conjecture on what could potentially happen or what they would be potentially talking about or what could cause them or lead him to this. But I will hold the accusations until we know more. And I think that's a wise place to look. Because if you look at this situation and you automatically say, no, the parents aren't involved, it's the personal responsibility of the child. That child is 14 years old. If that child has personal responsibility and can stand, like Ethan Crumley, I think he was like 16 at the time. If these teenage children are able to be responsible for walking into a school and unaliving their peers or unaliving a police officer in such a violent way, if they're held responsible for that and the parents don't have any responsibility, well, then why are we saying anything about children going to have surgeries or to have their body parts removed so that you become the opposite sex? Why do we say anything about a child that learns about sexual education in schools? Why are we saying anything about a child that may want to have a hormone therapy? If that child is responsible enough for and able to be held accountable for unaliving their peers or unaliving other people, then they also should be able to make decisions on whether or not they can lop off their body parts. It's very simple. Where are we going to at this point? Draw the line with that. We have to be consistent. And I think consistency takes in obviously the entire picture. And that is a definite thing that we need to just wait for this information to come out. But I mean, I cannot imagine the anger, the pain, the hurt, the grief, the questions as to why that this family has, and that this family is going through, the pain that they're going through. We all know loss. We all know grief. We all know what it's like to lose someone close to us or some things close to us, right? But to automatically begin blaming, I don't know if that's the right move. All right, let's see what else we've got here. And by the way, you can sound off on that. You can tell me what you think in the chat. You can also tell me what you think in the Crusader Stadium chat, also on the Rumble chat as well, and on Facebook, which we are broadcasting on today. So head on over there and let me know what you think in the comments section. And we will move right along here as we are broadcasting on this fine and wonderful morning. Let's see what we've got going on here. Get back to that screen. Donald Trump has a plan. I don't know if this is going to actually happen, but this would be incredible if it did. It says here that if you earn less than $150,000, Donald Trump plan is to make sure that you receive no taxes. You make less than $150,000. Now, Newsweek had this story. I saw this on a meme and automatically at the time was like, I got to check that out. Because there's a lot of crap out there that's happening that may or may not be true. There's a lot of memes out there, a lot of AI, and it's crazy the amount of, or the lack of AI that's over there, or that's out there. So let's do this. Let's jump into this story. It says here that President Donald Trump's goal is to eliminate taxes for people earning less than $150,000 per year, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has said. I know what his goal is. No tax for anybody making under $150,000 a year. That's what I'm working for. That's what Lutnick told CBS News on Wednesday. He said that major tax cuts could be implemented without causing spiraling national debt through tackling overseas tax fraud. Why it matters. The proposal to remove taxes for people earning less than $150,000 per year would impact the vast majority of Americans. In 2022, around 93% of Americans aged 15 and over earned less than $150,000, according to U.S. Census Bureau. The proposal would consequently massively reduce tax revenue generated for the federal government and threaten a huge increase in national debt. It doesn't. That's why you cut a bunch of crap and you stop funding stuff and you send it back to the people. I think it would be amazing. I think it would be, let's read it. It says, Lutnick said on Wednesday that Trump's aim is to remove taxes for individuals earning less than $150,000 per year. He outlined the president's other tax strategies, which include abolishing tax on tips, overtime, and Social Security, and implementing significant reductions to individual and corporate taxes. Lutnick said that the federal government would counteract massive U.S. tax cuts by implementing tariffs on foreign nations and curbing overseas evasion. Now, here's what I think we should do. I think we should continue to eliminate departments, eliminate unnecessary federal spending, and eliminate programs and eliminate departments that don't do necessary work. And that's where we could start. Now you say, well, what's necessary? Well, actually, there's no necessary work that a government can provide. All right. There is all kinds of information that the private sector can do. The government then takes some of that information and from the private sector, but all of the work can be done. Actually, all of the work, except for intelligence agencies and the actual military, which, by the way, we should be abolishing those as well. But the vast amounts of government work or government spend are on things that are not necessary. The money that's being spent is not necessary. The amount of jobs that are there are not necessary. So if we eliminate those things, then we don't have to take taxes from people. You see how that works? If we eliminate salaries for congressmen and congresswomen, if we eliminate jobs that are not providing necessary functions for the country, all of that goes to the private sector. Now, you know what happens with that? Entrepreneurial and visionary people will look at something in the government and say, you know what? I think this is a legitimate and noble cause. I think this is a legitimate and noble task. So then somebody in the private sector would start a company that does that thing and then would employ those people that came out of the government that were doing those jobs, employ those in their business. Now that makes sense to me. There's nothing wrong with that. If a job or a function that the government is doing right now is actually a noble cause and necessary for our comfort in our life, then a private sector business can do it. So let it be sent to the private sector. And we don't have to worry about taxes because now I'm not funding your salary. I'm not funding your proposals. I'm not funding anybody. I'm not funding the research. If that is a viable, necessary function, then what we will see is an increase, or we will see the money going to that company, people actually purchasing from that company, or that company providing a good or service that's necessary. Gifted Guru says first proof of private sector working better than the government is NASA versus SpaceX. The biggest problem there is NASA is just a big cover-up organization hiding all of the truth. SpaceX is either a part of it or they are negligent to report what they have learned, right? And I find it very interesting, by the way, that we have Elon Musk, who was put in charge of Doge, right? And now the Democrats or the left are trying to boycott Tesla. And then Elon becomes the savior by sending up SpaceX to save the astronauts stranded on the space station. How crazy is that? That is insane. But anyway, there might be a conspiracy there. I'm sure there is, and I'm sure we could probably spin one or make one up even if there wasn't. But I would be fine with, because I'm just be honest with you, I'm one of those people who make less than $150,000 a year. I'm part of the 92%. All right. So I would be fine if there were no taxes, but I would also be fine if there were no taxes on billionaires and millionaires. There's no reason. Now, we can talk about whether or not it's ethically right or morally right for someone to have that kind of money, hundreds of billions of dollars, right? Is it right? Is it moral? Is it ethical? Is it biblical? Is it Christian? Is it Buddhist? Is it right for somebody to have hundreds of billions of dollars and for there still to be so much suffering in the world and for there still to be so much lack and poverty in the world? That's a really good conversation that we can have. But I think what we need to do is we need to stop. We look at, we make comments, or people make comments. Well, they need to pay their fair share. Their fair share of what? They have to drive on the same roads that you do, right? They have to go to work every day like you do. Well, I mean, once you get to a certain point, they don't have to go to work every day if they don't want to. But they had to go to work. They have to pay property taxes, which is also theft. They have to pay taxes on their automobiles, which is also theft. They have to pay taxes whenever they purchase something, which is also theft. They just pay higher amounts of taxes because they're buying $250, $350 million yachts. So they're paying a lot more taxes. You know, their fair share is the same amount that you're paying. But many people look at that with envy and greed. And, well, that person shouldn't have that money. You know, well, maybe they shouldn't. Maybe they shouldn't, but to demand or find a way to confiscate that money and siphon it away from them because we don't agree with them having that amount of money is no better a moral argument or stance to take. Say sanctioning a federal government or a government of any type to demand and require you to pay them something for a good or service. You buy a home, but you got to pay for the land in taxes in perpetuity to your county, right? If you don't, well, then we're just going to take your house away and put you in jail. So give me your money or go to jail. That sounds an awful lot like coercion and theft. All right, folks, bad theology coming up next hour. Is DEI a Christian principle, or are principles contained therein Christian? We'll find that out in the next hour of the breakdown. Keep it locked in right here, folks. All right. So there's the first hour of the show. I'm drowning, Erica. I need your help. I'll send you a link to join. All right. There's the first hour of the show. Big. I mean, we didn't really get through a fraction of the stories that I wanted to. But the next hour, we can tear into some stuff here. I think the biggest thing I always do, it's not time management per se, but what it is like I'm afraid that I don't have enough for a particular time So I push it off a little bit, kind of like procrastinating, sandbagging stuff so I don't run out of it for the next hour. And then this happens. I end up, with I end up running into a time constraint where I don't have where I run out of time and I can't cover the stories. But anyway, that's just me just blabbing on and on, oversharing. My apologies. Okay. Yeah, there's going to be some interesting stuff next hour that you all are really and I can't remember. It was Larry. I think it was Larry that I posted up on Facebook about DEI, and Larry was like, "I hope you cover this more on Saturday." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll do that for you." Oh boy, can't do that. Here we go. That's the button I was looking for. So we're going to go here to share my screen. Not yet. Not yet. Like a little child. Okay. And there's another thing that's weird. So I'm now going I'm going on I'm using Restream today, which I haven't used Restream in a while. Okay. And I'm going on Restream today and I'm looking at my Rumble numbers. And normally our Rumble numbers are double what they are now. Double. And I don't know if it's because we missed last week, which by the way, we missed last week because Bree was admitted into the hospital. She's doing much better now, still experiencing some pain and stuff. We're going to some specialists to try to figure out what this chronic issue she's facing is. So keep her in your good thoughts and vibes there. But we had to miss last week. But I don't know if it's because of that or what, or if it's because of Restream or the way that Rumble does their analytics over there. So I'm curious about that. So we will find that out in time. But this is going to be hopefully a good solution for us as I talk about this on air. I'll be right back, folks. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Thanks for staying with us. By the way, I am working on reformatting the clock because we are operating under the old live clock with Mojo. For those who remember, Mojo is where I started doing the live show on Saturdays. And the clock was actually, I started doing a recorded show on Sundays at first, but then I moved to Saturdays live a few years ago. But the clock over there would start at 9:04. So all the shows started at 9:04 because there was a network break from 9 to 9:04. So I shaped my clock. Obviously, after that, Ron Phillips, the extraordinaire, sent me the clock. I shaped my show, and he actually created for me this track that you lay underneath it, and you just hit play, and it'll play your intro, and then at the time of your breaks, it'll play your breaks, it'll play your outros, your rejoins, your all that stuff, and it's fantastic. It's a huge help for a one-man show when you're producing it, not a one-man show. Like Eric obviously is here. Well, actually, it is a one-man show. It is a one man and a one woman show. That's what radio is. One man and one woman on radio. But anyway, so the clock was set up under those old guidelines. So there was the 4-minute break at the beginning, and then there is we have to go about a little bit of time before the top of the hour, and then another 4-minute break. So that's 8 minutes of content, or at least 4 minutes of content per hour that we're losing. 8 minutes overall in a 2-hour show. So I am reformatting the clock. And I'm going to have it where it starts at 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern time every Saturday. It goes to a break at the bottom of the hour every time, stops at the top of the hour at a specific time, and then starts right at the top, right at the top of the hour for the next hour. So that'll be happening in the next week or so, and I hope next couple of weeks, I should say. So there's going to be a lot more content. We're not going to have the talkie at the beginning of the show normally during the actual live show, so that'll be changed there. So just a heads up. All right, folks. So let's take a look at this here. A couple of things I want to jump into. Gifted Guru says that Solomon was richer than Elon. Solomon was richer than Elon adjusted for inflation. Yeah, and there was a lot. Back in the Old Testament. That's how you determined whether or not you were blessed, was by money and material wealth. You look at Solomon, he was the richest, he was the wisest king ever, and he was given and gifted all this material wealth by the Lord. But then in the New Testament, it was, after Jesus came, it kind of switched. It was like, blessed are the poor. So it's the poor people now. That's the issue. The poor people are the ones who are the blessed ones. It's the harder for rich people to enter into heaven than it is for a camel to go through the eye of a needle. Space Vacay said Elon earned his money. So Audrey is saying here, Elon earned his money. He also pays more taxes than any person in USA. He does a lot of humanitarian work and is constantly working to better the lives of all humans. People need to leave him alone. And let's see, Gifted said, Audrey, I was just saying that if money is made and used in an ethical way, God has no problem with a wealthy man who has a servant's heart. Yeah, but let me ask you a question. Go through the list of the richest men in the world. All right. And show me who on that list are Christian. Do that for me. Show me who are Christian people on that list. See, and that is the disparity that exists. I've never seen the righteous forsaken nor a seed begging for bread, yet there are Christians in the United States who are either unhomed, what do they call that now? It's our homeless, unhoused, housing insecure, home insecure, whatever, food insecure. Kids are going without food, and their parents are Christians, believers going to the local church, etc. But I mean, like, where's the righteous are forsaken there? It seems like. But anyway, that's just the musings of a middle-aged man who thinks he knows everything. All right, now here, but let's jump into this story. I wanted to hit this story before we got to the next one. Here is, I've seen this story circulating a couple of times and found it myself over here, and I wanted to bring it up to you all. This is let's go ahead now. Crud nuggets, I didn't want to do that. Let's share this story so y'all can see this with me. U.S. citizen child. Here we go. U.S. citizen child recovering from brain cancer removed to Mexico with undocumented parents. The Texas family was on their way to an emergency medical checkup, they said, when they were detained at an immigration checkpoint. A family that was deported to Mexico hopes they can find a way to return to the U.S. and ensure their 10-year-old daughter, who is a U.S. citizen, can continue her brain cancer treatment. Immigration authorities removed the girl and 4 of her American siblings from Texas on February 4 when they deported their undocumented parents. The family's ordeal began last month when they were rushing from Rio Grande City, where they lived, to Houston, where their daughter's specialist doctors are based, for an emergency medical checkup. The parents had done the trip at least 5 other times in the past, passing through an immigration checkpoint every time without any issues, according to attorney Danny Woodward from Texas Civil Rights Project, a legal advocacy and litigation organization representing the family. In previous occasions, the parents showed letters from their doctors and lawyers to the officers at the checkpoint to get through. But in early February, the letters weren't enough. The papers weren't enough. Show me my papers. The papers are not in good order. You will go back. When they stopped at the checkpoint, they were arrested after their parents were unable to show legal documentation. Show me some papers. If your papers are not in order, your daughter die. The mother, who spoke exclusively to NBC News, said that she tried explaining her daughter's circumstances to the officers, but they weren't interested in hearing that. Of course not, because they're the Gestapo. They have one. You can look at these hardened criminals. Look at this hardened criminal here. Look at her. You got to keep people like this out of the country. Hardened criminals like her mom and dad who came over here to try to get her this treatment. This young girl is an American citizen, but the papers are not in order. So they kick her out. That is garbage. That is horrible. There is no humanitarian good being done here. There is nothing ethical about this. There is nothing moral about this. And all of this crap about, well, if I'm not get arrested and I got my kids with me, they're going to take my kids away, aren't they? Because I'm breaking the law. That's what I'm doing. I'm breaking the law. Well, let yourself be put in that situation. Let yourself be put in the situation. And if you're a father that's not going to fight to make sure your kid gets the treatment. I mean, but what kind of stupid argument is that? If I'm out with my children and I break the law, they ain't going to take my children away from me. That's what they do when you break the law. If you're out and you're speeding, let's say, and you're going well above the speed limit, and a cop pulls you over and arrests you for reckless driving and impounds your vehicle, but your daughter is dying in the back seat because you were speeding to get her to the hospital, I bet that argument's going to hold water. Well, I was arrested. I was breaking the law. I shouldn't have been breaking the law. I should have been going the speed limit. Shut up. Shove it up your self-righteous nostril because you know that's bullcrap. I don't know the circumstances of the parents. I don't know why they were here, but they evidently had documentation saying that they could traverse or explaining the situation. They had an American citizen daughter. Did they come here illegally? I don't know the process. I don't know how they got here. I don't know why they initially came here 10 years ago when their daughter was born here and became an American citizen, or however their daughter became an American citizen. But you're telling me, under your love of the Constitution, that kicking a 10-year-old American citizen out of the United States because you disagree with the 14th Amendment is ethical. Preventing her or holding her from getting her medical treatment that she needs, life-saving emergency medical treatment, is ethical and needed. I'm going to tell you you're full of crap. I'm going to tell you that that what you're doing is you are willing to go to the extreme to say, yes, that's true, rather than admit that there's nuance in the argument. There is nuance because these are not the people that Trump promised to get out of the country. No, these people, I can't tell. I don't see anything here that says they were part of a gang raping gang or a drug trafficking game. I don't see anything that here. They had papers from their lawyer. They had papers from their from the doctors, and they're being told, nope, sorry. You know, those Border Patrol are like mall cops, is what they are. They're Paul Blart mall cops. No, we have the power over you. You can't come in here. You're not going to be doing that. We won't let you bring your daughter in for emergency medical. She's probably a drug mule. Let's consult our God Trump and ask him. And then all of a sudden, give me some papers. And they become possessed with the Gestapo. You can sound off on this. I'd love to hear you talk about this in the comments section on Rumble or over in the Crusader Stadium chat, which we do have Kaiser joining us over there. Aaron Barker, on this, you are wrong. If you are an American that was illegally in Mexico, they drop you in prison. That said, I'm sure they did not withhold treatment since that never happens. Well, here's the deal. We're not Mexico. So that is incomparable. Like, I don't care what Mexico's laws are because we're not in Mexico. We're in the United States of America. What was it? I cannot remember. Oh, man. What was it? The statement. give me your legal, your documented, your properly ordered papers. And no, that's not it. It's what was it? Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Is that what it was? Or was it give me your tired and making sure that everything is properly done according to our laws, and we'll take care. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to get my quotes correctly. Kaiser continues. He says, second, if you and your wife have a child in Mexico while there, that child wouldn't be granted Mexican citizenship. Again, see, argument for the first one, Kaiser. Love you, brother, but I disagree. Just because Mexico doesn't do that does not mean that we don't have laws and that we don't uphold them. You know, we are not beholden to do what Mexico would do. So that's a false dichotomy, I think. Is that a false dichotomy? I'm going to say false dichotomy. All right, folks. Now it's for the part where everybody's going to love. Man, Eric is not here. I'm out of control today. You're listening to The Breakdown live radio the way it should be right here on the Crusade channel, broadcasting on Rumble, on Facebook. I say right here on the Crusade. I am on the Crusade channel, and you can listen live over there. You can also check me out on Facebook. Go to aaronbarker.substack.com, and you can join in the festivities over there and watch all the shows as they are posted. And here is this, folks. We're going to go to bad theology so that we can get this on.
You're teaching some bad theology. Your bad theology's annoying me. Oh, you're teaching some bad theology. Repentance is the only cure.
Oh, right. That is the part of the show where we go through all of the bad theology, an in-depth look at the bad theology in churches, culture, politics, and everywhere else where they do have those, where they do try to insert that. Now, here's this. I'm not really sure how to introduce this or how to talk about this, but we're just going to go ahead. Have you ever seen those artists that go on stage or they're performing and they have their canvas, and on the canvas, they're like speed painting and doing all this stuff, right? It's incredible stuff. And they're like whipping their paint brushes around and you know, and speaking in tongues while they're doing it, slapping paint up on this canvas. And then at the end, they'll like flip it upside down and it'll be a picture of, you know, Gandhi or the Twin Towers or something like that. Some incredible thing. And it's really fantastic. I love watching that stuff. And I love watching the street painters who start out with that canvas and they spray paint stuff. That is just amazing. Like an artist who can draw, you know, an animator who draws pictures and, you know, and animates those pictures. That's awesome to me. But what was like super impressive as well is just how like some scrapes on the canvas through the wet paint creates a skyline. Like, how did they know that it was doing that? And how did they know that it would end up like that and end up that good? I don't know. But here is this artist who has performed at Mar-a-Lago, I believe. I believe she performed at the inauguration. But this is looks like it's being performed in a church. Let's take a moment to look at this. First off, I love that song. That's called The Blessing, right? But whilst that song is being performed, this woman is painting. Now, this is a contrived service. There's a bunch of people standing around with cameras and stuff like that. And whilst she is painting, this song is playing. And this song is called The Blessing. And the lyrics of, I mean, like you heard that part right there, amen, et cetera, et cetera. But it's essentially from scripture, the Lord bless you and keep you, make his face shine upon you, be gracious to you, the Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. But it's made into a lyrical thing. But whilst this woman is worshiping to this song, and whilst this woman is painting, what she reveals is that she is painting a picture of President Trump from like from a back left oblique shot looking at the cross. This is really creepy. This is like super cringe. I'm fine with artists, but I'm fine with artists. I'm fine with them, making pictures and such. But for a long time, I've had an issue with pictures of Jesus or God, depictions of the Holy Spirit, things like that. I'm pretty sure this is what the second commandment is talking about, like things like this, where you have a person painting a picture of a man whilst singing a song, a worship song, and worshiping while they're doing it. Now, politics aside, because if you were to replace that left rear oblique with Obama or Biden or Putin or any world leader, people would be losing their ever-loving minds, claiming that's worship, that's idolatry, what they're doing in a church service. This isn't proper. But no, this is okay because it's our Lord and Master, Donald Trump. I have a problem with that. Now, if this were Obama, this would be in bad theology. I think you all know I try to be consistent. But I'm pretty sure you all would know. I think I've built a reputation here on bad theology that if this were anybody else, I would be doing the exact same thing. I would be saying the exact same words, only I would not say Trump. I would say, our Lord and Savior Obama, the Obama-Messiah, or something like that. We'd have some kind of pithy little thing, and Erica would probably be here. So it's not about the fact that it's Trump, because I have problems with some of the things that Trump's doing. I have some of the issues with some of the things that are happening, but this is about worship. This is really troublesome. This is really bothersome. And I'm having a bit of a problem that there's not outrage over this. I was so happy. I think it was last week where we had the when we played the AI video of Donald Trump and over in Palestine, and it had like the transgender belly dancers, and then it showed him dancing with a scantily clad woman who wasn't his wife, really in character probably. And then we have the statue, the portrayal of the golden idol statue. That also was incredibly stupid to me to see that they were doing that. But what I loved about it was the fact that Christians in the comments section were like, ew, no, this is wrong. This is wrong. And the reason they were saying that was because they probably listen to Bad Theology every Saturday right here on The Breakdown. Morning, BD Gear. It is like Pavlov's dogs over there. He drops in a hello and I drop in the Rumble link. It's weird. In the Crusader Stadium chat room. But that was, now I would love to hear your all's comments on this, because a lot of people say, well, that's not worship because they're not bowing down to the picture. That's why they're just not bowing down. And Audrey, you said that right. And I've labored to show the distinction between the Trump cult, the MAGA cult, and Trump supporters. I think there's a difference. And I think there can be a difference. Actually, no, I don't think there can be. There is a difference. People who do this. Now, let's just say she was painting that and it was another song that she was playing. Or maybe it was another venue. Like they showed other places of her painting pictures of Trump and the American flag and the eagle and all of that stuff. And you know, she was, I mean, she's a fantastic artist. There's nothing against her work. I'm not bashing that. But the context does matter big time. Where she was, what she was doing, and why she was doing it. So you can sound off on that and join us in the chats. We will discuss that as well. Let's see here. What else can I do real quick? And because I want to get to some other stuff to make sure that we have time here. I'd like y'all's thoughts on this as well, because this is happening. They say it's happening. What are they going to do about it? Oh, don't go anywhere. We're going to do that. And they get you.
Let's guess what my fifth grader brought home today. That is correct. They stopped the entire class to pass out Bibles to everybody. So it's beginning. Where do I go from here?
All right, so this young lady said that her child
stopped the entire class.
That they stopped the entire class to their child. I'm trying to get a screen, just a still of that right there. So
That
it's
is correct.
It's one of the Gideon Bibles.
They
too.
stopped the entire class. Grader brought home today.
Here it is. All right, this is the New Testament, Psalms and Proverbs. It's a Gideon Bible. That's orange. It's probably an ESV. Yeah, I know stupid things like that, but that was given out to her child during school that day. Now, I would like your thoughts on this. I'm gonna. Is Curtis out there? Who's out there that can remind me? Somebody remind. Well, I would love to know your thoughts on this. Should they be passing out Bibles in class? Is this something that I think I can set up a poll here on this, and I'll figure out how to do that during the break. Do they, or can they, or should they be sending out Bibles in classes to kids, stopping class and giving them out like this? Is this something that is appropriate for children's? Is it something that is appropriate or not appropriate? I would love to have your comments on that. You can leave your comments in the Rumble chat, or you can go to Facebook and leave your comments there. We are live on my individual Facebook page today, and we are live on the Breakdown Facebook page today. Did not go to YouTube. We don't get a lot from YouTube. So here, all right. I'm not sure about what the context of your question is, Kaiser. How about going to a church? Give me more context on that. Juliet says, JB over in the Crusader Stadium chat room, she says, this is regarding not the Bibles. Maybe that's what Kaiser was talking about, was the Bibles. But this Juliet Bravo, JB is talking about the woman who was doing the painting of Donald Trump during a kind of like a faux worship service. She said, I think it's propaganda to influence people that Trump's actions are good, or to show the idea that Trump followers are crazy. And I agree with that, JB, because I believe that QAnon was the same thing that I've mentioned before. QAnon was a discrediting, disinfo, propaganda arm of the federal government used to discredit and make Trump supporters look like they're stupid, and to make conspiracy theorists appear as though they're dumb as well. I do not doubt that for 1 second in my little puny mind. Let's see. All right, the really good questions coming in on the chat here. When we get back from the break, we're going to be talking about this and more bad theology. Great time, since we're on a break, for you to go to aaronbarker.substack.com and subscribe so that you get all of the updates. You can subscribe for free, or you can become a paying member and receive the Dimension X Files, which airs every Wednesday now. That is going to be a show that Eric and I are doing from now until Jesus returns. And that is a lot of fun. We would love to see you over there. So don't forget to do that. We'll see you on the other side of this break. I love that music. Going to break like that. I love that. Oh, hey, I uploaded the music there. Look at that. It's incredible. I'm trying to find, I thought that there was a way to add a poll onto this. Nope, that's not what I need to do. I thought there was a way to add a poll onto my, into the chat through this, but I don't think that that I have that. Oh, yeah. So we're on break currently. Let's see. Kaiser. Okay. The Bible in classes. Okay. So we got this over here. So I'm trying to get all these together. I'll talk about a couple of these when we come back. Somebody out there, if you're going to be listening for a while, Space Hippie or Guru, somebody out there, if you could remind me at like 10 till about the Bible question, because I want to come back. I want to talk about that. What is that for? Welcome back to the Breakdown, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us during that break. Broadcasting live here on the Crusade Channel, live radio the way it should be. And we are broadcasting on Rumble and Facebook today as well. Join us over there. Share the show. If you're listening, please just like the show and share the show. We would love to see those numbers skyrocket, and love to see you all interacting more with us and letting other people know about the program. If, by the way, this was brought to my attention by the bearded pastor, Brian Jackson, messaged me this week, and he said, he's like, hey, dude, what do I do with these 5 free subscriptions to Substack? And I was like, bro, I don't know what you're talking about. And he was like, when you subscribe, when you become a paid subscriber to the Substack, and it might be a yearly version, I'm not sure, but when you become a year member of the Substack, when you become a paid subscriber, you get 5 free subscriptions. And those 5 free subscriptions can be given out to anybody. So if you have somebody you want to talk to, somebody you want to hang out with, or you want to spread the word to, that would be where you would do that. So sorry, I just realized that a couple of things here about this streaming platform, and I think out loud. But yeah, so if you become a year subscriber to the Substack, you get 5 free subscriptions you can pass out to your friends, which would be really great because that would allow us to share the more information with the show and get the show out there and tell more people about it. We would love to do that. We're continuing on right now with Bad Theology. We just talked about painting a portrait, a Trump portrait, to worship music whilst in church. Really weird. The whole situation is really weird. Here's another one from this was posted on Right Wing Watch. Joel Webbin. I've never heard of this guy before, but I really wish that Erica was with me today because I would love to see her reaction to this and love to get her reaction to this. This is one of those times when I wasn't going to share this story with her at the beginning or let her know about it because I wanted her genuine, honest, guttural reaction to this. So here is this. And if Erica, if you're listening, I would still love to get that. And I would love to get all the other ladies' reaction to this as well. So let's check this out. This is a guy. I don't know who this is, by the way, but his name is Joel Webbin. And he is doing a podcast with 3 guys here staring at the screen and listening to him while he talks. So here we go. This is what Joel Webbin had to say.
In a nutshell, in general, I don't want to see women in the public sphere. You mean they shouldn't hold political office? Correct. You mean you don't want to see them podcasting? Correct. Well, but what about in the marketplace, with, 9 to 5, careers? No, not that either. Like, I don't want to see women holding positions in the public square. I don't.
Now, he doesn't add any context as to why. He doesn't say because they are better than that. He doesn't say because they have more dignity, because they need to be. He doesn't say any of that. But I'm not sure that that's actually good or bad. I'm not sure that if he were to add context to this, if it would be better than what he just said there. So let's see if we can add some more context, because here's a little bit more of what he had to say in another presentation. And here we go.
Why I have grown to despise democracy is because it's not we the people. It's we the some people. And who are those people? Non-elected officials. Yep. Like what democracy, what it lends its strength to is, instead of having elected officials that have power, is a raw universal, because that's what we have, is a universal democracy. everyone is allowed to vote.
Right.
Everyone. And just for the record, I think the 19th Amendment should be repealed. I think that because, well, first and foremost, because I'm a Christian, and that is the Christian position. Oh my gosh, that you're saying that? Yes, that is the Christian position, is that households should not be divided against one another. So it's not just elevating a male vote, but it's elevating the household vote. We're saying that that society, if you break it down.
I just want to go back here real quick and make sure that you heard what he said.
I think the 19th Amendment should be repealed. I think that because, well, first and foremost, because I'm a Christian, and that is the Christian position.
That is not the Christian position. I don't know anywhere in the Bible, Old Testament or New Testament, which tells me that the 19th Amendment should be repealed. I don't see that anywhere in the New Testament. So forgive me, Pastor Joel. I don't know where you are getting the idea of the 19th Amendment being repealed. He's using the excuse that a house divided against itself. All right. So what he believes in male headship, which means that women make decisions based on what their husbands say. Women would or should vote since they are to. He actually doesn't think they should be voting, but they should get their positions politically and on everything based on what their husbands have to say. And I would just love to hear people's comments on that. Oh, here we go.
Oh my gosh, that you're saying that? Yes, that is the Christian position, is that households should not be divided against one another. So it's not just elevating a male vote, but it's elevating the household vote. We're saying that that society, if you break it down to the basic building block, is not atomistic as individuals, but molecular, being households. That the way that God sees humanity is He breaks them down to families, and so that it's not just random individual atoms all bouncing around together. And
he's saying, it took me a minute the other day when I was watching this to realize he was saying atom, A-T-O-M, not Adam, A-D-A-M. He's saying atom, A-T-O-M.
And 350 million atoms bouncing together in one nation on one piece of land, but it's families. And so by repealing the 19th Amendment, just for the record, it's not just trying to take away a female vote, but it's trying to say, no, there's a family vote. Right. There's a household. And it's like, well, where do women get their voice? Where women get their voice is from their father, from their husband. If they're not married, it's from their father. If they're not married and their father is dead, it's from their brother, it's from their uncle, it's the men in their lives that love them.
Oh yeah, okay. So Space Hippie on vacay. I'm looking at his church webpage, and the elders and deacons affirmed the 1689 Second London Baptist Confession of Faith. Yeah, they would be considered Reformed Baptists because of the 1689 Baptist Confession of Faith, and they would actually probably get offended if you were to say Reformed Baptist, because Baptists don't believe that they were Reformed. Baptists don't believe that they are Protestants. Baptists believe in church perpetuity. There's a book called Trail of Blood, which some independent Baptists and some Sovereign Grace Baptists hold to, which has a line that goes from Jesus Christ, from John the Baptist, Jesus Christ, all the way here, that shows that they evidently never joined any churches. They were never part of the Catholic Church, so they were never protesting against the Catholic Church. Therefore, since they didn't break away in the Reformation, they are not Protestants. They're not Protestants. They are Baptists, and they've always been Baptists. So to say you're a Calvinistic Baptist would be, offensive to some Baptists, or to say that you're a Reformed Baptist would be offensive to them as well, because they didn't reform. They aren't Calvinistic. They're Sovereign Grace Baptists, or they're Independent Baptists, and went all the way back to the time of Jesus Christ. So that is that 1689 London Baptist Confession of Faith. That would be what I would have held to more as well, because it does have predestination, election. It does have regeneration. The doctrines that I believe in would be more closely aligned with that than they would something like a Reformed theology. I wouldn't consider myself any longer to be a quotey fingers Calvinist, because Calvin would shudder, or Luther would shudder at those names of denominations being named after them. But it's not because of that. But that would have been the one that I would held to. There were some things within the Reformed tradition that I didn't believe in, and I didn't agree with. I didn't find in Scripture. Much like this dude here, there is nowhere in Scripture that says a woman shouldn't vote. All right. Actually, let me rephrase that. What's happening here is you're seeing a theology being constructed, and a theology being built around the way that the Old Testament culture treated women. All right. If this guy were to be transported, so let me recant. Let me recant There is a place in the Bible that leads us to see what he is saying here to be legitimate. Okay. In the Old Testament, women were treated as property. They were not treated as individuals. They were not treated as people. They were treated as property. So you didn't have, so a woman wouldn't own anything. A woman wouldn't have any rights. A woman would be subjected to her father. She would be subjected to her husband. She would be subjected to whoever her heir is, anything like that. When during the kinsman redeemer, the brother would have to go sleep with his sister-in-law if his brother died to raise up his brother's seed. For that woman. There's a lot of things in the Old Testament that do not speak to women having rights. So when he talks about this, he's actually saying what the Bible is saying in the Old Testament. But now here's the thing you have to look in. Is that meant for us now, or is that cultural? Because if we apply what was to an ancient culture, what was being done there, why are we only applying certain things? Now, people will say, well, there's a difference between ceremonial law and civil law and Levitical law, etc. But there are many things that we don't follow, which are in the Old Testament, which have no ending to them, right? Like it tells you you're supposed to practice the feast days forever. People don't practice the feast days today. The Sabbath was changed in the New Testament because of the first day when they went to see Jesus in the tomb to anoint him and bury him with spices, etc. It was on the first day of the week. Now, there's another revolutionary thing that kind of happens in the New Testament is that even though Jesus doesn't stand up and start talking about the rights of women and saying that women can vote, etc., there is a massive change in the way that women were treated, a way that women were venerated, a way that women were respected. Mary, the mother of Jesus, when you look at the Magnificat, what a beautiful testament of a young woman with faith. Why was Mary not stricken with the inability to speak like Elizabeth's husband was? When he questioned, it's because Mary was not questioning the will of God. She was just seeking understanding. There's a big difference between those. I go off on that on another time. The way that Mary was with him at certain times when he was doing his public ministry, the way that Mary Magdalene was respected there, the fact that two women were the first people to be witnesses and testimony to the resurrection of Jesus Christ, the fact that women were in the New Testament as apostles, they were teaching other apostles. There's a big shift and change in the culture of the way that women were treated in the New Testament than in the Old Testament. And we make that bifurcation, by the way, between the Old Testament and the New Testament as if God is different. No, he is the same God to the Old Testament and the New Testament. There's no angry God of the Old Testament and nice God of the New Testament. All right, there's an angry God of the New Testament and a nice God in the Old Testament. You can go that route too. Same God, same application there. But what he's trying to do is he's trying to apply an ancient cultural understanding of the way that women were treated back then to now, right? And it just doesn't work. Not because we're modern now and because it's the 2020s and because things change. No, because if man and woman were created in the image of God, the Imago Dei, then women should be afforded the same respect, the same dignity, the same rights that men are afforded. All right. I understand that men are to be providers. They are to be protectors. They are to be, they are to lead their families well. Understand all of that completely. I agree with all of that, but that does not diminish the role of a woman. It does not diminish her ability to work if she decides to, although I would rather a woman be at home with the kids or the father. Somebody be at home with the kids. Don't send them to public school. But to try and apply an ancient cultural understanding of women to modern cultural society or the advancements that we've seen is trying to throw us back into the Stone Age. And this I believe is beyond offensive to treat women the way that he is claiming to do, because he's trying to apply this understanding of the Bible to the life that we have now, but it is not, he would not do this in other circumstances or other situations. I guarantee if the FBI knocked on this guy's house, he would not follow the teaching of Romans chapter 13 and do exactly what they say. If they wanted him to turn in his guns, he wouldn't turn in his guns. He wouldn't follow Romans 13. He would only have followed the ones that he thinks apply to him appropriately. Hippie, Audrey says over here, she says, he has freedom of religion to believe as he wants, but he needs to be reminded that slavery has been abolished. This has the makings of a cult. Yes, it does. And Audrey, if you're there on his website, could you do me a favor? Could you check to see how many followers that ministry or he has on socials? You know, I mean, like how many followers on Facebook, how many followers on Twitter? Well, duh, I'll have to mansplain that to you. Just see how many followers he has on his socials. I'm interested in that. Because when you have these kind of fringe statements like this, these kind of fringe understandings of things over here, then it, to me, when it starts to grow in popularity, that starts to become extremely dangerous. It becomes very, very troubling. Here we go. Here we have Gateway Megachurch founder. This guy, this was shocking. All of these are shocking, but Robert Morris is somebody my papaw watches. My papaw I'm going to be 92 in July, and he watches Robert Morris. There was a book that I read by Robert Morris called Frequency, which I thought was very good. Overall, I thought he was a clear-thinking Pentecostal. We'll say that. But but a grand jury in Oklahoma has indicted Texas megachurch founder Robert Morris, accusing him in 5 felony counts of lewd acts with a girl beginning when she was 12 years old in the 1980s. Robert Morris, who was once here's an interesting thing. He was once a spiritual advisor to Donald Trump. Resigned as senior pastor of Gateway Church in June after admitting to inappropriate sexual behavior in the 1980s. His accuser said she was 12 when Morris first sexually abused her on Christmas in 1982 during a visit to her home in Hominy, Oklahoma. He was then 21. After almost 43 years, the law has finally caught up with Robert Morris for the horrific crimes he committed against me as a child, Cindy Klimshire said after the indictment was made public. Now it's time for the legal system to hold him accountable. And I hope that by the legal system holding him accountable, you do mean that he's tossed into an incinerator. The state's multi-county grand jury returned the indictment on Wednesday. And after hearing 2 days of testimony in secret sessions, grand jurors charged Morris, now 63, he looks older than 63, with 5 counts of lewd or indecent acts to a child. Grand jurors alleged the offenses started when the girl was 12 and continued while she was 13 and 14. The former pastor's Oklahoma attorney Mike Martin declined comment. Attorney General Gentner Drummond, whose assistant advised the grand jury, said there is no tolerance for those who sexually prey on children. This case will be more despicable because the alleged perpetrator was a pastor who exploited his position. Drummond also said the victim in this case has waited for far too many years for justice to be done. His assistants told him restrictions on prosecuting sex crime against children do not apply because Morris did not live in Oklahoma at any time. Oh my gosh, that is incredible. That is incredible. So I guess that there's some type of constriction on this. Hey, thank you very much, Gifted. There's some type of restriction on the laws or prosecutions of Oklahoma of this. And now the interesting part that a lot of people pointed out, but was that this guy was a spiritual advisor to Donald Trump over a period of time. And Paula White is also a spiritual advisor to him over time. Now, we know that there is freedom of religion, but there's not freedom to diddle kids. And to continue to know that you had that, to not admit that publicly, to not have yourself brought to justice, makes me question what people do in these situations. Like their trail of work, right? Like you have a pastor who says, "Oh, I'm a pastor. I do great pastor work." Did you diddle kids? Oh, that was a long, long time ago. There was some diddling that did happen, but it's consensual, and it was consensual diddling. And I think every bit of his work now is in question. The same with Steve Lawson. He had a years-long affair with a woman that was 20 years younger than him, hiding from his wife, skirting the oversight of local churches because he wasn't a part of a church. He was an actual pastor. He was just filling in for a pastor, I believe. And then he had like a circuit that he traveled and preached and would meet this girl and let her know where he was going to be so he could have an affair with this girl. Everything is now brought into question. I'm not using anything that guy taught or says or does. None. I'm not following it. I'm not listening to Robert Morris anymore, and I'm not going to listen to Steve Lawson. And with everything that's going on with TD Jakes, I haven't listened to him in a while, but my goodness, man, that guy evidently is, also keeping things on the down low as well. Space Sippy says he has 32,400 on X, 120,000 on YouTube. My goodness gracious. So a total of over 150,000 followers on 2 social media networks. And this is the kind of crap that he's putting out there. Let's see here. Okay, back to this, because Gifted did remind me that it was 12 till then, now it's 10 till. Regarding the Bible, asking questions about the Bible in the classroom and whether or not folks out there thought that it should be done. A couple people over here say that, let's see what they say in public schools graduate a lot of non-readers. That's what Scotty Bobby said over in the Crusade Stadium chat room. He says, let's see, Kaiser also says, if she is looking to avoid morality and lives in Texas, Austin is always a safe bait for her. Juliet Bravo, JB says, the Bible's in class is strange. I don't want my grandchildren handling the Quran or other non-Christian beliefs, reading, writing, arithmetic. That's what she thinks it should be in schools. Absolutely. Iaconus says, I read the Quran, Z. He says they do come up with some interesting names for God. The original argument for having, Kaiser says, the original argument for having public school was to make sure people could read. Wait for it, the Bible. If that's no longer the case, let's just do away with the publicly funded schools. Want your kid to go to school, pay for it out of your pocket. Scotty Bobby says public schools graduate a lot of non-readers. We don't have a democracy in the U.S. No, we do not. Juliet, this is a guy by the name of Joel Webbin. That's who we were listening to. KD also V18B4 says that the King Dude said that 30% of 8th graders are educated enough to be readers. I think it's like 27 or 30%, something like that. And then he said, okay. JB says her son's a pilot. He reads information, but hardly ever a book. He was in a late elementary school when all the devices came out, which made screens mobile. We held out until middle school, but once he had that, it was a Katie bar. It was Katie bar the door. I hate it for him and pray one day he'll find his way back. Kaiser said he was surrounded by books. So it appears over there that from what I can gather, they say no, they shouldn't be passing out the books passing out the Bibles in school. And then some folks over here, I think in the chat also said, let's see, it says, I have a problem. A Gifted said I have a problem with Christian jewelry. Yeah. And go to Ireland. What's the context? Okay. Space Hippie says, are they passing out a Quran, et cetera? No, they're not, that I'm aware of. There are also people approve. Okay. Bibles were given out every time the Gideons came through, is what Gifted said. So it seems here that I don't think I would be in the minority by saying I don't think that they should be passing out a Bible in classroom. And there are 2 big reasons for that. First, because it opens up the door. Now people are going to start demanding that Quran and the Bhagavad Gita and what's the other texts? I can't think of anything right now. I'm trying to hurry. Other religious texts will be passed out. I don't think that those should be passed out. And I don't think that the Bible should be talked about in classes. I don't think that there should be laws passed where people have to talk about the Bible in class, because you're handing over a very important, very difficult book to be dissected by someone who doesn't have a specialty in that. If I were teaching math, I'm not good at math. Would you want me passing out a math book? Hey, just read a math book with no explanation whatsoever. Or if I were to say to you, here is something that I'm going to teach you about auto mechanics, but I have no idea about auto mechanics. I would much rather these be handed out in capable hands. Aaron Alchema says over here in the chat room, fringes become popular when the mainstream loses sight of the truth. When mainstream denominations when mainstream denominations embrace feminism, you should expect crazies on the edges. Kaiser said in high school in Texas in the 1980s, they would have to read passages from the Bible for English class. We never had any issues in doing that aside from not wanting to read it out loud to others, but that would have been the true reading from any book. We did weekday religion where we actually left the school and went to a Catholic church up the street. And it was only by people who signed up for it. The other kids would stay back in the classroom and play Omaha Trail or whatever that game was. No, I can't remember what that was. All right. Now I posted up before we had a couple minutes left here. I said that I would talk about this. I posted up on Facebook just the other day, and it wasn't the gorgeous picture of me with my shimmering beard in my Hawaiian shirt, which I'm sporting today. It was the first Hawaiian shirt that Hawaiian Shirt Friday I've celebrated since the fire, by the way. I posted up this statement here: diversity, equity. This is a picture that I swiped from somebody else, but gave them credit. And you know what? I can share the screen with you. Share this tab instead. And here, I'll pull this up. This is what I posted on Facebook the other day. Diversity, equity, inclusion are Christian values. And then I added this. I said, diversity, equity, inclusion aren't just buzzwords. They reflect God's heart for his people. Diversity, God's creation is beautifully diverse. We are all made in his image, each with unique gifts and backgrounds. Equity, Jesus lifted up the poor, the outcast, and the marginalized, calling for justice and fairness. Inclusion, Christ welcomed all, sinners, saints, and seekers alike. His love knows no boundaries. Living out these values means living out our faith, Christian values, etc. This was met with some consternation. Some people agreed, some people laughed, some people left comments, and other people shared it, both good and bad. Here's what I would like to say, and I've said this for a long time about the politically correct movement. These have their root in Christianity, in that we are supposed to be loving and respectful and kind and gentle and gracious to people around us. We're supposed to be seasoned with salt so that people get thirsty and curious about what the Christian life is about. We will have a diverse heaven. When you look around in heaven, you're going to be seeing all kinds of different people from all kinds of different races, religions, and nations, etc. You're going to, and equity was a big thing that was taught in the New Testament. Jesus focused on the poor. Blessed are the poor. Now, people will say, well, that's a spirit. No, it's blessed are the poor, people who are poor. We're supposed to be looking out for people and lifting up the outcast. We're supposed to be looking out for the marginalized. When Jesus tells us the parables that the woman left all of her money and went searching for one coin. When the shepherd left the 99 and went and found the one, we do that. We look for the marginalized. We look for the outcast, and we seek justice and fairness. And then we include everybody. We cannot preach the gospel to people if we don't talk to people. We cannot preach the gospel to people or expect to speak into their lives if we're not building into their lives and building into with relationships and caring about them and loving them and showing them respect and kindness and courtesy. You're not going to be able to do that. And asking for diversity, asking for equity, asking for inclusion, those are Christian beliefs. Those are things we should be doing. Now, people will say, well, that's different than what is being expressed in the workplace. And automatically they will assume that this is all about the LGBTQ community. It is not about that necessarily. It is a broadness. You expand. And this is something Erica opened my eyes to a couple of weeks ago with Costco's leader. This is expanding your search base to getting people who are in marginalized communities, who are people of color. Expanding that, not just because they are people of color or not just because, or not hiring them just because of those things, but expanding it to them to give them an opportunity to be included. Because to be honest with you, the person that's the most qualified for a job isn't necessarily the right person for the job. You can have somebody that has all of the degrees, all of the qualifications, all of the experience, but they are an absolute douchebag and don't fit your culture appropriately. So you find the person who appropriately fits that. All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to head on over to aaronbarker.substack.com. Subscribe to the show over there. You will get a brand new episode of Dimension X Files next Wednesday. If you're a subscriber, and until next time, make Christ supremely valuable. All right. I did it. I actually got to it. I still didn't get to all of the stories in Bad Theology, though. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Oh man, I got through every one of them except for one. Hey, Louise, thank you so much. Sending positive vibes and good thoughts to Jeremy. I hope he's doing better. but I got through everything over there except for one in the bad theology, and I am extremely shocked that I was able to do that. All right, so folks, that's going to be it. No more overdrives on Saturdays because we're reining that in because with doing another show, which takes us about 2 hours on Wednesday, and then doing the show on Saturdays, we want to make sure that we're not draining ourselves. Now, I could do this every day. I think Erica could do it every day too. I could do it. Like if somebody came to me and said, I need you to get on the air for 3 hours every day and talk about stuff. Absolutely. Just get me on there. Just give me an opportunity. So if you're listening and you have a radio station or you're looking for a host that you want to pay to do that, oh God, right here, reach out to me. I'll do that. But I'm having such a great time, by the way. I'm having such a great time, by the way, doing the Dimension X Files. I know we've only done 3 episodes, but it is so fun because we have we're usually bringing on guests. That's what we're doing at the beginning. We're bringing on guests. We're going to have some other things that we're going to brand, just the two of us talking about stuff or whatnot. But the whole point of Dimension X Files is that it is a conglomeration of everything that I'm interested in at the time. And I hope Eric is interested in, excuse me, as well. So for those of you who don't know, the Dimension X Files is where paranormal mysteries, conspiracies, UFOs, pop culture, and nostalgia collide. And if you do happen to jump in and become a subscriber over on aaronbarker.substack.com, then you will, you know what? I had that up earlier and I turned it off. Hold on. There it is right there. Nope, that's not it. It's this one right here. aaronbarker.substack.com. You will be subscribing to the breakdown, but you will get all of the paid content, which would be the show, the Dimension X Files. So please go sign up for that. It would be such an appreciated thing. It costs money to do the show every year. And any donations, any amounts you want to give us are extremely appreciated and much appreciated. We're very glad of that. All right, Deb, I see you there. Thank you so much. So grateful you were able to join us. And so grateful, Louise, you jumped on there as well. If you all, again, keep in touch. We have the chat, the Backstage Pass, Breakdown Backstage Pass. You can join. Really excited about that as well. We've been doing that for some time. And let's see. Let me leave that real quick. So excited about it. So folks, until next time, we'll talk to you later. Have a great one.